Hello, I am Durga Pawan. Now we are going to see the application which was developed using React and Node.js, and there are certain requirements for this application. And the requirements are we have to create 50 records in database, which is a PostgreSQL database, and the column fields should be as follows, which is serial number, cost, customer name, age, phone, location, and created rate, which consists of dummy data. And we have to create a single page application in which it has to display the above mentioned table in tabular format with search option and pagination with the 20 records per page. And the created yet column data has to be displayed in two separate columns as date and time. And the search functionality will search the data by column and name or location. And there should be an option to sort the data either by date or by time. Now, let's see by looking into the database. First of all, we have PostgreSQL database. In this database, generally we have two types of databases, which is predefined database and a user-defined database. A database, a Postgres is a predefined database, and we have created Zithara database in which we would like to insert the table and insert the columns into the table. In order to create the table and insert the records, I have used some JavaScript module, and we definitely require a Node.js installed in our system, and we have to use npm, which is Node Package Manager, in order to run this file. So let's delve into that file. And I have used VS Code as my code editor, and this is the db.js file, in which by using this file we can insert the columns into our database. And first of all, I had made sure the connections. We have to install the dependency of PostgreSQL by using npm install pg command. After installing that, we have to import that into our db.js file, and I am importing that using const pool is equal to recurve pg. By using this, we can directly import the pool, that is one of the client of PostgreSQL database, into our .js file, db.js file. And after that, I have used some environment variables in order to provide security for our credentials. And this is the .env file, in which it consists of some username, host, database, and password and port. Port is obviously 5432, which is a predefined port for a PostgreSQL database. And here I have declared some array with some random names, in which I can use it as a customer names column. And I have some Indian cities as a cities array, and it should be displayed as a locations column. And the function will start from here, insert records. After inserting the records, we have to insert the records into the database. At first, we are going to call the generate dummy data function. The generate dummy data function returns an array to the dummy data variable. So we can see that get generate dummy data. In this, we have an empty array. It should be returned to this, and after returning that, we are going to create the records by pushing some data into the dummy data array, in which that we have created just now. I am using this loop in order to traverse through our customer name array, which consists of 50 names. And after getting the names, it will take the age of the customers, and the age is random, which is in between 18 and 77, which is a default function. Math.random is a function in JavaScript, and math.floor is also a random function which gives the floor of the value. For example, if there is an 18.7, math.floor gives 18, and that is a predefined JavaScript functions. And after that, I have used some JavaScript in order to generate the phone number, which is also generated using the random function. And after that, location, in order to get the location, I have written one function, that is get random city. So this location will call the get random city function. This get random city function will give us the random city from the array which we have declared above. So here we can see the array which consists of some random cities names, and these cities are assigned to each user. And after that we have created a column, and created a column which should consist of some date and which consists of some time. So created it will call the function get random date. After calling to the get random date, we can get some new date along with the time. So there should be new date and along with the time which will be assigned to this created at column or variable in our sense, and the data will be pushed into the data array which we have created using generate dummy data function. After that, it will get all the data, and now we are trying to enter the data into our database. So pool.query, by using pool is one of the client of the PostgreSQL, and .query is a method in PostgreSQL of Node.js in which it lets us to do different operations with the query operations with the database. At first we are giving a string as begin. By using begin we can start the database, and after that pool.query creates, we are going to create a table. If the table does not exist, if the records table does not exist, we have to create the table by using the column fields which we have mentioned earlier. And after that delete from records. If there are some external records or some records already present in the table, we are just going to delete that. It is a normal function. And after that we are going to insert query. I am using this as we have to insert a 50 columns of data, and it is not possible to insert all the columns of data using the PostgreSQL because we have to insert them into inline. That is, we have to give 50 data in a row. For that I have used this JavaScript file. So we have inserted the data using insert query, and after that insert values. Now we have just given the columns, but we have to get the column values. In order to get the column values, we already have dummy data array in which it consists of already some data which contains values for our columns, and we are applying map function to the dummy data array. Map function is a function in JavaScript in which it is used to apply some transformation in the input of every element of an array, and it returns a new array. So insert values will be our new array with the values in which dummy data consists of, and we are inserting that into our database by using this insert query plus insert values comma dummy data dot flat. We are flattening this data because a pool.query always accepts the single dimensional data, but we know that we our dummy data is an array of arrays in which that arrays there is a column values. So at the above dot map function we are writing the index file. So every row will have 6 values. So for the first we have index into 6 plus 1. So the first data will be inserted into that cell. Now after completion of insertion we are committing that. So in this way we can say the database that no need to create any external files. All the data have to be inserted will be done, and we are giving the console as console.log. And if we catch any error in that, we are just rollbacking our transaction. And this is our normal JavaScript code in order to connect with the database. Pool.connect is a method which provides us the connection to the database. So if there is it is a callback function. If there is an error in the database, it will call if error and returns that error to that. If there is not at all any error, it will give us connected to PostgreSQL, and it will call the insert records function. After it calling the insert records function, our old derived data that I have said earlier will be happened, and the transactions will be happened, and after that records will be inserted successfully, message will be displayed. And if there is an error, it will display the error as error in inserting records. and after that finally it will release the client, release the client back to the pool. Because if we do not have any use with the client, we have to release the client, so in order to use it with another files. So I am ending the connection also by saying pool.end. And if we run this file, we can insert the data into PostgreSQL, and by using this node space db.js command, it will showing us the messages like connected to PostgreSQL. So our data will be successfully inserted into the PostgreSQL. So let's see that here there is a Zithara database in which we have tables which is already created earlier, and in that tables we have records. In that records we have columns of total 6 columns, and which their column with their column fields. Now we are giving some query in order to search the data in the database from records. So select all from records. By executing this command, we can get, yes, we can get, we are getting all the data. That is, it consists of serial number as mentioned in the format, and customer name. It is also mentioned in the format, and age, which is an integer, which is a random base in between 18 and 77. And we have some phone numbers which are also generated randomly, and we have some location which is also generated randomly using some cities names as default. And we have here created a column. In this created a column we have date along with the type. So now we have to create some backend in order to get this data, in order to make calls for this data from the database. Now I am going to backend, so that the backend file, the server file, which will calls the database in order to display the data. Now let's dive into the backend. So first we have this Zithara main project file. Now I am stopping the all the files that I have just tested earlier. I'm just going to stop this server. Yes. Now we have some different types of files. In Zithara main folder, it consists of backend, frontend, and some node modules, and package.json files and package log.json files. A package.json file is a .json file in which it contains the necessities about the requirements. That is, if there are any dependencies that we are using in this project, it contains that. And package log.json file contains the same thing, but it contains some extra information like versions or registries or some anything. And let's delve into the backend. So in backend, we have the different types of files such as db.js, server.js, log.js, package.json. And these are already explained earlier. So we delve into the db.js file. And this is the starting point of our backend, in which I have created a connection to the database. So in order to connect to the database, as discussed earlier, we have to import the module named as pool into our system. So we are importing the module after installing it as a dependency using npm install pz command, and after that we are importing it into our package using const pool is equal to require pz. And I am using .env file here also, because by using .env file we are also providing, so we can also provide some security for our credentials. And this .env file contains all the credentials related to the database. And now we are making some client, that is, we are making some client which is named as pool in order to connect with the database. That is, in order to do query operations with the database, in order to manage some operations with the database, we at least need one object. And here we have that object as pool. Pool is a client which can, by using it, we can do the operations with the database. So we are exporting this module using module.exports equal to pool. By exporting this module, we can use it in any other modules. So let's delve into some server.js module. Server.js module. Yes, here we can find the server.js file module. At first, I have installed the Express. Express, we know Express is one of the backend development module in Node.js, which is a web application framework for Node.js. It provides a set of features for building web and API servers. And I am also importing CORS, which meant by cross-origin resource sharing, and it is a middleware. And CORS is a mechanism that allows resources on a web page to be requested from another domain outside the domain from which the first resource was served. It is essential for us in order to enable communication between different origins in web applications. For example, we have some front-end React and backend and some backend files. In order to get fetch the data from the backend, that is from the database, and database to the API, and API to the front end, we have to provide some origin in between this. Generally, the HTTPS headers are given as no course headers. So, in order to bypass that, we are using this course or a course module. So we are importing the Express, and after importing the Express, we are just importing the pool that has discussed just now. And after that we are using the Express application. Express is one of the application, and by using we are importing that into our app variable. And port is a default port or process dot which port which can be given, and I have given the port number as 5000. And here we are using the middlewares that we have discussed in the early section, that is CORS and express.json. We already discussed about the CORS and express.json, which is a file which can be used to which is a module which can be used to transport different types of information as a JSON format and convert this to information. It is one of the important module that can be used in our Express.js in order to parse our data. So here I am writing one route. Here I am writing one route. In this route, we have I named it as slash API slash records route. In this route, there is a callback function, that is when this get function is executed, which is a get function. And there are different types of HTTP requests. They are named as get, post, put, and delete. And we know that get request is passed from the headers. It takes information from the headers and display as the corresponding data which is related to the route. So here how it works as, for example, if some link is provided, after clicking on that link, we have slash API slash records router, and this slash API slash records router will call this below function. This below function will takes two types of parameters. One is request and another one is response. Here we have used async and await in order to provide synchronous with our programming. Say in JavaScript, generally, if we call certain types of functions such as pool.query, these are asynchronous functions. That is, it does not allow us a sequential controlling of the flow of the program. It introduces concurrency in our concept. So in order to deal with the concept and provide the synchronous to our program, we are using await command. By using await command, we can let the program stop for certain amount after the promise is written by a particular method. So pool.query returns as a promise, and we can read it directly with the use of await method, and which will now we can discuss the logic of this router. So sort by is one of the parameter that is comes from the request. So the request dot query gives us the sort by method, sort by variable. In sort by variable, there is some date and time, and as it is some functionality, so we have to add. So I am adding that functionality. Sort by function will get date or time as a string in order to order our data by using date and time. That is one of the requirement of our web application is sort by data either by date or time. So I am passing it through the web headers such as the URL headers, and we are making some query here. Let query is equal to, it is a general string, select all from records, and if sort by is equals to date, I am adding order by created at date. Here created, we have created that column in the database. We don't have date column in the database, but PostgreSQL provides us to order the data in such a way so we can order it by using date or time. So by using this mentioners, we can sort it using by date, and if it is by time, that is if user clicks by time, the order by created date will be attached to the query. And after that const rows, we are fetching the data by using pool.query of query method. By passing this query string, we can fetch the data from our database. That is from PostgreSQL. In Zithara database, we have records as a table, and from that records we can get the data. So respond.json, it will be responded, it will gives us response in the JSON format as rows. So a front end or anything which will request for some data, and this route will, so and this route will apply the below given function, asynchronous function, and after applying this coding logic, it will get some response from the database, and after getting some response, it will do some operations, or else it will directly return the result as response to the file which request it's the above mentioned data. So we can run it using node space server.js. Let's check how it is working. So we are opening the new terminal. So we have to navigate into our backend project, and we have to give node space server.js. And yes, now our server is running on port. Now we can look at the below data. Here we are giving one listen method, app.listen method. By using this method, we can connect to our database by using certain route. Here 5000 is a port name. By using that 5000 port, we can connect to our database. So let's check if this route is working or fine. Now I am using Insomnia, which is a API tester in which we can test our API routes. So it will display us the data if the route fetch the data correctly. So we have already inserted this. I am closing this preview. I am here already the URL has given. We can see that slash API slash records, which is calling the router. It total consists of three parts: HTTP and localhost 5000 and the API slash records. Localhost 5000 is our default URL, and slash API slash records is a URL. When user may, by using this URL, user can make some requests. So I am sending this, and yes, after sending this, no, I want to delete this. We will discuss about this later. So I am unchecking this. Yes, it is enabled, disabled. So I am sending the data. So we can see the serial number, customer name, age, phone, location created at. These are all can be given in the format of JSON format. Here it is giving the 200 as a status. So we have different types of statuses for the API. There is 200, 404, 405, that is page not found, or 500, which meant by internal server error. So here 200 means that yes, our route has worked well and it has fetched data from the database. So the conclusion is the API slash records router will fetch the data from our records table and gives us the data in response.json format. So we are making the request, and up to now we have inserted data into the database, and we have already make the backend request in order to get the data. Now we have to deal with the front end part. Front end part will be available in our front end folder, and in this also contains some modules, which are modules in the node. For example, express is one of the node module, and cos is one of the node module. All these modules will be bundled up in this, and as it is a front end, it contains a React and some HTML modules as CSS. All are working in this, and we have some public folder in which it is a React's default setup option, in which we have index.html, which is a root HTML file for our whole React app, in which the whole React will be rendered by using this. And we have some src folder, and this src folder, we have some file names as app.css, app.js, and index.js. And we are taking app.js as our starting file. In our app.js, we are giving records table as one of the component, and it is the component which is used to display data in our front end. Actually, index.js is the starting file for our React project, and it will render the app component. So this app component again render the records table. Records table is a component that is created by us, and which is available to us in components folder. So let's open components folder. In components folder, we have two types of files. One is JS file, which is commonly called as JSX, and we have another file as CSS, which is some CSS that is applied to our front end. And in this JS file, we can see that I have imported React and imported useState and imported use effect from the from React modules. We can create the React project by using command npx create React app and the folder name. In that way, you can create the React app, and after creating that app, we are importing some modules. And first one is a React. We can discuss about React. React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It provides us tools for creating reusable UI components and managing the state of a web application. And useState is one of the React hook, which allows functional components to manage state. It returns a stateful value and a function to update that value. For example, by using this useState, we can get one variable and one setter function. We can set that variable to the set function. Generally, in React, we can use the variables, but if we use the variables, we don't we can update the value, but we can't update the component. So in order to update the component, we have to re-render the component. So in order to re-render the component, we have to use the use state hook. And use effect is another React hook that enables performing side effects in functional components. It allows us to synchronize a component with an external environment. It is commonly used for data fetching, subscriptions, or manually changing the DOM. And we are importing another module named as Axios, and we can install the Axios by using npm install Axios. And after that, after installing, we can import the dependency by using like this. And generally, I have just imported some some records table.css into our file in order to apply to our in order to apply styling. So yes, records table is one of the default function. It is the default function. Default function is the starting file for our React app. So I am exporting this as a default function. There are two types of functions available in JavaScript. One is default. We can import and export our modules or files by using two conventions. One is named exports and one is a default export. So I am exporting it as default. So by using default, we can mention to the app.js that it is a main file, and we have to render first. This file have to be rendered first. So this file will be rendered first, and it consists of different types of state variables. At first, we have records variable, and this state variable hold the array of records fetched from the backend. And we have system. At first, it is initialized to an empty string. it will be used to hold the system entered by the user. That is, we have to search by name or location, and it will hold the data. And sorry, and we have current page. So we have to set the page nation also. In order to set the page nation, I am using another state variable as current page variable, and it will first set to the first page. And now we have records per page. Now generally we have to set some records to the page. And now, oh, just give me a minute. Yes, I just want to stop this server, which is nothing of use. Yes, our backend is already running. I'm just closing this for some time. Yes. Now we have records per page that will display how many records that we can display for the page, and sort by is another string which which is used in order to sort the records by using date or by using time. So here we have set already the state variables that will be required in order to render this component. And now we have fetching. We have here used one hook. This is a React use effect hook. By using this hook, React continuously and infinitely renders a particular renders and send data and send request to the backend by using some function. And we are using fetch data function. In this fetch data function, we have written our logic, that is a response equal to await of. By using axios.get, we are making requests to our backend. So our backend will locate at /API/records, and after every rendering of the component, this function will be executed. And this function will be executed not only every rendering. If there is a change in sort by variable, then the sort by state variable, then also this function will change continuously. And there is some handler. We can find here some handler, which is a search handler. And this search handler is used to, and whenever user search for some name or location, that the event will be propagated, will be entered to this handle search bar. And the handle search bar will accept the event object as its parameters. After taking the parameter, it will set that particular term as event.target.value. For example, if we some enter Zithara in our front end folder, we can find out that the records will be displayed with the name as Jitara. Or if we enter the location as Hyderabad, so we can filter the records using this handle search per function. And after this, it will automatically set the current page to 1. In total we have 3 pages, and after searching we have to set the page, because after searching we don't have to go to second page or third page. We have to set our record, so in order to display the data efficiently without any confusion. So handle, it will set the current page as 1, and set search term will re-render the component, and the set current page will also re-render as the component. And next we have some fetching records use effect handle search handle sort filtered records. Now here we have filtered records variable, in which variable the data which is fetched from the backend will be stored into records. We can see the here above set records, which is a function which is used to set the records variable. In that records variable response data, that is what we have seen in the backend. We can see here this response will be sent to this records variable by using response.data. and we have to filter some records, because if someone enters some name or some location, we have to filter the records based on that. So records.filter is one of the JavaScript function which will be applied on the array, and it will return the new array which contains the elements that are filtered, that is based on certain condition. Here customer we are comparing the customer name what is present in our database. We are comparing that customer name with the value that has entered by the user entered value will gives us in the search term, because here we have in handle search we are setting the search term by using this handler. So I am just turning them into lowercase in order to do the comparison. And includes is one of the JavaScript string function which is used to compare the two strings if they are equal or not. So we have to search the data by using customer name or location, and this filter records all the records which will be filtered using those customer name or location. If user does not give any customer name or location, nothing will be presented, an empty string will be written, and all the records will be displayed to us. And after that, here I am setting the basic pagination to our page. First of all, we have to know the last record of the page, and we have to know the first record of the page in order to display the total number of items. So here just current we have filtered records, and from that filtered records we have to display some of the data. We don't have to display all the data. For example, if we give Hyderabad and we are retrieving some 20 to 30 columns, we have to display 20 columns for the page, and after that 10 columns have to be displayed. So for that I am using some slice method. Slice is one of the JavaScript array method which will create as a array using two indexes values. So in filter records array function, we have slice. We are applying the slice method. By using the slice method, a new array will be created, and that array will be assigned to the current records. And after that, I am we have this pagination function. It just takes some page which will be clicked by the user and displays as the page. That page number will be displayed in our page at the bottom of this. So here we can find the div. In this div, whenever user clicks on this button, the button will propagate will call the pagenet function with some value, and this pagenet function will display as the page number that our React component have to be displayed. And after that, we have some handle sort handler which handles the sort function. We have two types of sorts that were mentioned. That is, we have to sort the data by using date, and we have to sort the by using time. So based on the user option, based on the user response, we can sort the data by setting this variable. If we set this variable, it will re-render the component. It will re-render the component, and the component will be re-rendered and make request to the backend, and express backend router will be executed, and that router will get the data from the database by making requests to the database using pool.query method. And after getting the data, it will again send to the front end as response.json, and this file takes the data and first filters the data and create current records. According to that, it accepts the pagination and displays as the result. This is the overall rendering of our React app. At first, we have created one div which will be named as records table container. We have used class name for different purposes, for styling purpose, or in order to access the DOM. We can use the class name, and we have some header named as records table, and we have input which is user can enter uh, can enter text. So if he enters some text, that the value in the text will be taken by this value property, and this will be done by if some there is certain input, and if the system will change, it will detect that change and calls as the handle search function. So here we have handle search function which is a search handler, and it will automatically execute it. So after that we have some date and time functions, date and time buttons. So whenever user want to sort by date or sort by time, they can do it by clicking on these functions. And whenever user clicks on the sort by date function, this sort handler will be fired with the parameter date. And whenever user clicks sort by time component or button, the handle sort handler will be fired with with parameter of time. And now we have table component. Sorry, we have table section. In this table we have some headers and some body. In the head we have some headings, which is named as serial number, customer name, AS, phone, location. And here we have current, and we have only one column in the database, and that column name is created at. And now we are displaying the column into two columns. That is, we have only single column in the database, but we are displaying that into date and time columns. So after that, I am just using the JavaScript's map method. We already know that map method will takes the array element and returns a new array with the transformed elements based on the operations done on that particular array. For example, we are taking current records array, and in current records we all have some records, that is serial number, customer name. It contains an object. So after that we have some, we have every row will be displayed. The every array in current records array will be displayed to us as one row. So here we have record dot serial number, our data, we are naming it as record. So by using record dot serial number, we can get the serial number of the user, and we can get the customer name. Subsequently we can get age, phone and location. And so we are making the date into two parts, and that is created it into two parts, that is date part and time part. So we are using JavaScript's inbuilt date function, which will take the parameter that what we have given, and we are applying two local date string. That is, it takes, for example, if today's date is March 3rd 2024 and time is 10:29, it will take, and this method returns only March 3rd 2024. And this two local time string method also returns the same, but it returns the time. Now we have handled some pagination. Array dot from is one of the method which will create the array of size which is described here. For example, here I am using filter records. Total how many records we have in that file, in that given response.json. And if we divide that with the current number of files, for example, we have total 30 files, 30 records, and 30 divided by 2, in which we can get 1.2, and math.ceil value we can get 2. So here it have to set the, it will return the array of size 2. In that array, the elements are null, there are no elements. We are just creating this array. So in order to dynamically display the page numbers to the user, in order to efficiently access the different types of pages, so we are inserting, if we have uh, tables, it will returns us the total number of pages. So I refers to the total number of elements in this array. Total number of elements here refers to the total number of pages that have to be displayed. And by using button, we are displaying that page. It is array indexes generally starts from 0, and we are passing it to passing it as 0 plus 1, that is 1. So first place will be displayed, and second page and third page, if the provided filter records dot length and records per page divided ratio is equal to that. And after that, the button will be placed there, and whenever user clicks on that function, the pageNet function will be fired. And after this pageNet function, it will set to the current page. So setting to the current page will re-render the component, and old data will be re-rendered with a fresh look. So let's, it's completed for now. So we have to, and this is a export default we have already discussed. So it's time to run our front end also. I'm making new terminal. I'm just closing the application which is already in. and I'm changing it to our root directory as it had changed. Now we have to enter the command in order to npm start is the command. By using this command we can start our React app, and I am starting the React app. So it will take around 20 to 20 seconds, so just wait for the time. And yes, it will be rendered. At first, React renders the components. In React, there is a mode known as strict mode, in which it will set every component. It will search for every time to every function 2 times. So it displays as the front end. So we have records table as our header, and we have some we have some options to search, and we can sort by date or we can sort by time, and we have functions such as it is displaying only 20 records per page, and we have total 3 pages available for our 50 columns of data. And in second page we can find that 21 to 40, and in third page we can find 41 to 50. So in this way the data will be displayed. And here I am entering some search by location, so Hyderabad. Oh, sorry, yes, Hyderabad. So here we can find the find user customers all by using Hyderabad, and we can enter some name. Here I am entering Aditya, and it is displaying the records which contains all the names which is including Aditya. So if we enter some other record, so it is not displaying anything. And we can sort it by date, so we can search this functionality. Yes, we can see that our data is sorted using the date, sort by date, and we can see the second page, and which is already in the sort order, and which is all, yes, it is working fine. So our sort by date is working fine. Now we would like to sort it by time, so we are sorting it by time. Yes, all our data will be sorted according to our time. We can see that 12:36 a.m. and 4:41 5. So our data will be sorted in sort by time. So we can see that our table, our front-end React app consists of total 50 records. In that 50 records, it have to display 20 records per page, and further to 50 records we have total 3 pages. Each page displays as 20 records. So we have 20 records. I am just setting it to the normal. We don't want to sort in any means. So it's our normal data, it is normal. So we can search it. It can have a search function as working, and sort by date also working, handler also working, and sort by time also working. So here we can say we can discuss the 5 points. That is, first we have inserted 50 columns to our database, which is records database. Sorry, which is a Zithara database in which records table is present. And after that, we have created one single page application which is displaying 20 pages, 20 records per page, and we have total 3 pages. Each page will contain only 20 or less than 20 data based on the data available, based on the customer records available. And we have splitted the column created at column into date and time. So actually, if we see in our database, it is only one column created at column. In a created column, we are splitting it into 2 columns named as date and time, and we also have some search functionality, and we have sort by date functionality and sort by time functionality. And this is our old React app. So in conclusion, we can say that um, the whole project description is like this. So at first the React will so I'm just moving this down. Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm closing this terminal. React at first renders the component with the initial values that we have set it in the above, and whenever it renders the component, it will call this router and makes the request to the router that it wants some data, and the route and the server file contains that router. So in that server file, we have handled that using app.get route, and in that route we have certain function. In that function, we have taken the values from the database, which is retrieved from the database using some queries, external queries, and we are displaying it to, and this response will be propagated to the front end as response.json, and after this it will read the data as response.data, and after reading the data it will set the records. That is, this records variable will be setted by using this set records function. Whenever this set records will be applied, the component again re-renders, because in React.js we have a concept called, whenever we call the set function, that is set records a set system, the component will automatically re-render. So the component will automatically re-render with the data that it is received from the backend, and it will update all the values in the table, and it will apply some map function, and in this, by using this map function, it will display each array as a column. It will display each array as a row in the database. So in this way we can create a single page web application using React and Node.js by using PostgreSQL database. So in simple, we can explain that React is making some request to the server, and the server, by using the app.get route, will take that request, and it will handle the request, and it will fetch the data from the database, and our database is PostgreSQL. From our database, from records table, we are getting the data, and after getting the data, it will store it as response.json file, and it will send the data to the front end, and the front end takes the data using response.data, and it will re-render the component every time the data is retrieved, because we are setting the commands such as set records. So we are setting the state. So after updating to every state, the React automatically re-renders the component, and that's it for our application. We can see our application. It is as per the needs required by the client. It contains the column. It contains 20 columns per the page with 3 pages, and a name function, and sort by date handler, and sort by time handler, in which user can sort according to date and sort according to time, and can search according to name or location. So that's it for our app, and we can stop the servers. So we can stop it, and the front end has been stopped, and we can stop the backend. Yes. Now in this way we can create a single page web application using